Okay, so I've made a wee pistol here. A couple of wee adjustments I could do. I could obviously spend more time adding more details to it, added more. See, the other one had a sort of circular thing. Here it wasn't really anything specific. It was just a thing. That was just a cylinder. And right, so what I'm going to do is actually, you know what? There is one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to select this guy, and I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to extrude these out a wee bit. So remember, if it does that, which it probably will, you change here the type of extrude it's doing. So group is what it's on just now, so it's pulling all of them together, both out of the way. If you do local normal, it'll pull them out and kind of keep the shape. And then you can just adjust the height. So that's a bit nicer. Let's do that. I forgot the trigger. I'm not going to bother with that just now, just in the interest of saving time. But made that exactly the same way as this. Just make a long thin box, put a bed modifier on it, we'll stick it in, no bother. But what I'm going to do is smooth this out. You'll see this looks really boxy and a bit weird and a bit crap. So by making it smooth, you can just sort of get rid of these hard edges and just make it look a wee bit more realistic. So there's a number of ways you can smooth things. You could model it yourself by using the chamfer edges and stuff, but that's a lot of work. So what we're going to do is use a modifier called Turbosmooth, right? There's Turbosmooth and Mesh Smooth. Turbosmooth is newer than Mesh Smooth and is generally the one you probably want to use, at least when you're starting out, because it's a wee bit easier. So I'm going to put Turbosmooth on that. But oh no, look what's happened. The whole thing has collapsed into like a mad blob and looks really cartoony. Way more than I want. It's kind of losing its shape. So the reason that happens is because, if we go back down the stack here, when you smooth something, it kind of like quadruples almost the size of things. Because what it's doing is, you'll notice, if you just pay attention to this bit up here, in fact I'll isolate it so you can see it a bit better. If I smooth that, you'll see here it's added more vertices in between the vertices here, and then it kind of averages out the distance between them. So the problem is, yes, it is smoothing it out, and if I put the iterations up here, it will make it much smoother. I mean, that's a crazy number of polygons, you don't want to do that. But yes, it does make it smoother, but the shape just goes completely out the window. And the way you fix that, let's put this back down, you never really want to go above 1 for this, by the way. But the way you fix that is you basically to add more topology to it. Okay, topology is the position of edges and loops and things like that. You'll get to know these terms fairly soon, actually. But what we need to do is sort of put extra edges on the shape in the areas that we want to keep nice and kind of crisp. So there's a couple of ways to do that. The first obvious one is to use Connect, where you can go in and you can select here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put an edge right around near this edge. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to go to Connect, and I'm just going to use Slide to just shunt that over. And then what you'll see here is that that side maintains its shape a lot better than that side, because it's kind of got that edge holding it together. Now, in order to completely, solidify it, you're going to have to put supporting edges around every edge that you want to keep kind of square, right? And using the Connect tool, you can, but it's pretty tedious. So what I'm going to do is show you a trick. If you go up here to Edit, you'll get Swift Loop, right? Up here, this is known as the ribbon. There's loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of things up here. Anything here is here, but there's a bunch of extra stuff as well. But you'll just learn it as you do Max, I guess. But I'm going to click Swift Loop, right? So Edit Swift Loop. If you don't see the edit, it's probably because you have the wrong thing selected here. If you've got vertices selected, should it show you? No, it does. But sometimes it won't show up. Although apparently it does. So hey, that's a new thing. So what I'm going to do is just go to Swift Loop, and you'll see when I move, when I move the cursor over the model, you'll see these edges appear, and you can literally just kind of click them into place. So I'm going to click one here and here. Now that edge and that edge and that edge are totally supported each way. So when I smooth that, that maintains its shape a lot better. And then I'm going to go down, I'm just going to add more to here, around the front edge, around the bottom edge, around this edge. And you'll notice that I'm going all the way around the model, okay? That's because smoothing also works a lot better if you've got quads, right? Four-sided polygons. If I had, I'll show you what happens. If I got rid of that edge there, right? So I'm just going to control backspace, no, shift, sorry, no. Why aren't you deleting? Okay, I don't know. Oh, it's deleted, right. If I delete that there, and that one there, right? Control backspace to do that, by the way. Then, you know, you go, right, well, I only need that edge supported going up round the full border. But what's going to happen is you're going to end up with this polygon is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. And when you smooth it, you'll see it still maintains its shape, but this whole area just becomes a bit of a mess. Now, at the moment, you know, the level you guys are at, it's not going to make a massive difference, to be honest. But later on, it will. And it's better to not get into the habit. So make sure everything's nice and neat, and that's the reason I keep those edges going round. You'll see if I smooth that, it stays nice and neat, and that'll make life a lot easier later on. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to go to, whoopsie, I'm going to go to Edit, Swift Loop. I'm going to draw one there. I'm going to draw one there to support this inner edge. I'll maybe do one on the other side. Again, you could do half of this and then use symmetry to duplicate it, but because it's so quick, it seems a bit unnecessary. So I think that's all my edges supported now. And then I'll put my Turbosmooth on, and you'll see it just keeps the shape much, much better. Turn off F4, turn off edges. You know, that is nice, rounded edges, but it's still clearly a box. If you think it's a bit too boxy, all you need to do is basically move the edges. Oops, sorry, F4 again. All you need to do is move the edges away from the edge they're supporting, and it will create more of a curve. So if I put on here, show end result, you'll see underneath there it's showing me the Turbosmooth result, and the orange box around it is showing me, you know, what the actual model is on the editable poly level. And if I go and move these apart, I'll just push these aside, and then we'll push this one down. Oops. I should probably be a bit more specific here, but we'll keep an eye on the time. You'll see how that then curves in further, and it's just by having these loops further away. Now, doing what I've done, I've created a bit of a mess here in my topology, so it's worthwhile thinking about that beforehand and practicing a wee bit. It's fine to go and do wee adjustments, but you don't really want to be in this position where you're going, oh, I don't like it, I'm going to go back and just move everything, because that is just going to be pretty annoying for you to do. Like so. So anyway, Control Delete, sorry, Control Z to go back. That is essentially how you prepare a model for smoothing. Hard surface modeling is called, hard edge modeling you might hear it called. Something a bit more elaborate, like this shape. If I smooth that, it's going to just kind of collapse in on itself a wee bit. So I'm going to go to Turbosmooth. That's actually not too bad. It's not great, it's a wee bit blobby. I can maybe get away with that. But what I'm going to do here is I want that to stay more boxy. Now, another trick you can do is, if you're not going to see polygons, you don't need them. You know, it's like that bit there is buried in the case. So I don't really need these ones at the top, so I'm just going to delete them. And then I don't really see the ones at the bottom either, so I'm just going to delete them. And you'll see when I smooth it now, it maintains the shape a lot better on those areas because it's not averaging out with anything on top. So that can also be a wee trick. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Swift Loop. I'm going to go around, put a wee supporting edge in there, wee supporting edge in there, and then a wee supporting edge here. Now the reason it's called a loop is because it goes in a loop. Now, I'll do that. I'll do another video on this, but I'll just point it out while I'm here. You'll see it can take some funny angles, right? And it's because it's going end to end with each polygon around that shape. That's creating a loop. It's a term that you will come to know because it's really important. But for the time being, that's why it does that. So sometimes, depending on how you've modelled it, it can get the Swift loop might not do exactly what you want it to do, just because you're not used to using it, basically. But I will do another video on loops. So let's see how that looks now. Much better. Still a wee bit curved at the corners. I'm not a huge fan of that. And the reason for that is I haven't supported it here. So I'm just going to do that quickly before my time runs out. I only get 15 minutes for these videos because I don't pay for the thing. So I'm just going to add wee supporting edges to those corners here. Now the downside with this obviously is you're adding loads of topology, which in the future you will learn how to not do that. But for now it's fine, don't worry about it. And there, that's maintained its shape much, much better. Much nicer. See? Nice and smooth. Everything's starting to look a bit better. And I would go around and just do the same for this. This isn't too bad actually. But if I smooth that, this whole bottom bit is just going to go mental and just blob out. So Turbosmooth. Still actually, that's kind of alright. Yeah, I could live with that. But I'd want to go around, maybe do this bit, this bit, this bit, exactly the same way, looking at the edges that are collapsing. If I do that bit here, Turbosmooth, this probably isn't going to deform too badly actually. Yeah, it's a wee bit ray gunny, but alright. Because it doesn't have the polygons here and here to kind of pull it in here, so these edges stay kind of pretty nice and sharp. But what I might want to do is just add supporting edges, oopsie, around these parts. Push F4 again. Yeah, it amazes me when I see people not working with edges on. It makes your life so much easier. Like, just get used to, turning edges off and on. F4, dead easy. And it makes your life a lot easier if you can actually see what you're doing. But yes, when I smooth that out, that's maintaining the shape a lot better. Like so. Now we just go do here and here. So, yeah, I've only got like 2 minutes left. So let's see if I can do that actually. So we'll go here, and then again, I'm looking at it and going, right, I don't see the bottom of that. So I don't need those polygons underneath. Oops. Here, and then I'm just going to get my Swift loop. I didn't learn about Swift loop for a long time when I was learning 3D. When I learned about it, it just changed my life. It's so much easier than using Connect when you don't need to be that precise. I mean, Connect's obviously still got its benefits, so let's Turbosmooth that. Lovely. And then the barrel, so same deal. I'm going to go, what bits do I not need? I don't need that entire back edge. So see if I smooth that just now, what's going to happen is that back bit is going to start tapering in, and then this edge is coming a mess, so I need to support that. To edit, Swift loop, bam, 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 bam. And then I'm actually just going to delete that bit at the back. I'm just going to select, I'm just going to select those polygons, and then Alt and deselect those polygons, and then delete. And then my smooth will be nice and smooth, like that. Those edges are holding that together where it was collapsing before. And then this one down here, I've got 30 seconds left. Fully edit, Swift loop. Oh my god, oh no, I'm running out of time, running out of time. Let's see. Bam. This is a bit overkill for what is essentially just a box. There's other ways to smooth it, but we'll worry about that later. And then Turbosmooth. Hey! Done. Nice and smooth. Lovely.